Good morning and welcome. Let me adjust this a little bit. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. My name is Bruce McConaughey. I'm this morning's worship associate, and my pronouns are he and him. Whether you're joining us here in the sanctuary or on Zoom, I'm glad you are here. I'd like to welcome all guests or visitors in the congregation today. Mary Beth Lerner is our welcoming captain and is here to answer your questions about our congregation. Feel free to find Mary Beth after the service to learn more about how to connect with us here at UUCSS. Joining us as a worship associate this morning is a new member of our worship committee, Kelly Clyde. Kelly will be assisting us in the service today. Welcome everyone to Flower Ceremony Sunday. Yes. As a part of this annual ritual, many people bring flowers, as you certainly see, from home to place into shared vases. If this is your first time participating in a flower ceremony, or if you just forgot to bring a flower, don't worry. There are plenty of extras at the tables at the rear of the sanctuary. And if you haven't yet had a chance to place your flower in one of the vases up here in front, I invite you to do so in a few minutes during the opening hymn. Children of all ages are always welcome here in the sanctuary. As a part of this annual ritual, many people, but our nursery is staffed with caring adults and teenagers, and that's available through the end of the service. It's available for all children ages 6 months to 5 years. Kids of all ages may wish to stay for all of today's service, however, particularly as we will be doing a bridging ceremony to welcome our graduating high school seniors into adulthood. That will occur after the flower ceremony. Now it's time to greet one another. We will begin by greeting those on Zoom. Those in the sanctuary, I'm sure you know how to do this. Those in the sanctuary, turn to the camera on your right and wave to those joining us virtually. Now I invite those on Zoom now if you're joining us by Zoom, it's your turn. Please turn your camera on and wave so that those in the sanctuary can see you. Right. Now I invite those on Zoom to greet one another in the chat, while those of us here in person get up and greet our neighbors around the sanctuary. In a minute or two, the music will start, and that's our cue to go back to our seats and sing the opening hymn, which is number 38. The words to all hymns will be on your screen.
I always keep this up here just in case. Yeah, that's my rule for myself there. Okay? So I'm going to get his attention. Let's rise. Let's sing. Number 38.
Good morning, y'all. I'm your Minister for Spiritual Growth, the Reverend Caitlin Cotter-Coylberg, pronouns she, her, hers. And our invocation today comes from Reverend Thomas Robes and is entitled, All of Us Are Beautiful. We come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some of us grow in bunches. Some of us grow alone. Some of us are cupped inward, and some of us spread ourselves out wide. Some of us are old and dried and tougher than we appear. Some of us are still in bud. Some of us grow low to the ground, and some of us stretch toward the sun. Some of us feel like weeds sometimes. Some of us carry seeds sometimes. Some of us are prickly sometimes. Some of us smell. And all of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are.
Please join me in saying the words to our chalice lighting, which are on the screen. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being.
want to. Okay. I will be happy to read it again.
It still feels
Okay.
so fresh and new, this chalice lighting song.
Indeed. Kindle a spark, fragile, full of power. Hold it in your hand. Hold it in your heart. Let it warm you. Let it fire your spirit. Let it burn bright. Let it burn bright in your soul. Kindle a spark, fragile, full of power. Hold it in your hand. Hold it in your
So, for real this time, I don't know that it happened this way, but I do know that it's true. That long ago and far away, or maybe recently and quite nearby, there was a kid named Honor who loved bees. Like, they're just so fuzzy, you know? And Honor would tell their neighbor and 4B, and sometimes they take naps in flowers. And did you know bees are responsible for pollinating 75% of the world's flowering plants and 35% of crops? To the neighbor and 5C. Honor was really worried about the future of bees. It seemed like every article they read talked about how bees and other pollinators were in decline and into trouble, and how can we save the bees? Right? They really wanted to save the bees bumper sticker, but they didn't have a car, so they just said it a lot. Now, Honor was just a kid. What could they do? Well, one day, as Honor was walking into the building where they lived, they stopped and stared at the patch of grass by the front door. It was a patch of grass. It had always just been a patch of grass, carefully mowed, never changing. But what else could it be? "Mom," said Honor, "who's in charge of what's planted in front of the building?" And that is how Honor ended up in front of their building's condo board, with a piece of poster board covered in bee pictures and a pile of library books about native plants and pollinators. But there's always been grass there. The grass is so tidy, and every condo building has grass, said the board member from 7B. But the more that Honor talked about why the bees mattered, about why native plants and pollinators mattered, and about how actually the grass had only been there for a few decades, but the bees had been there for thousands of years, the more heads started nodding. "You know," said the board member from 4B, "I bet we could build a little pollinator house that's even cuter than the little free library down the block for all those cute little bee butts to rest in. I definitely saw something on Instagram about that recently." "And some colors from flowers would be pretty," said the board member from 5C. "And there's no law or legal restriction saying we can't," said the lawyer from 6C. "If there's a little thing we can do that makes a difference and makes things more beautiful, we should do it," said Honor. It's like a little mini preacher there. So, It turned out that the neighbor in 2A was an admin in the biology department of the local university and could get them seeds and seedlings and even plants. And someone else had a brother in construction who could help dig up the grass and put down new dirt. And before Honor knew it, there was spotted bee balm, orange coneflower, brown-eyed Susan, Joe pieweed, golden Alexander, New York aster, bee balm, swamp milkweed, pussy toes, pentaston, I'm not saying this right, I'm so sorry, 7th principal folks, butterfly weed, whitewood aster, zigzag goldenrod, blue mint flower, fall phlox, spice bush, Indian grass, and little blue stream grass, where the carpet of plain green had been, just like there will be soon outside our building. And the pollinator house the neighbors built and painted together was super cute. One day, after school, Honor paused as they were walking into their building, and there, in the curve of a flower, a pair of fuzzy little bees napping, and nearby another bee buzzing peacefully from bloom to bloom. Honor stood there for so long, a butterfly landed on their shoe. And as Honor walked to school the next day, they wondered, did the library really need grass by the accessible entrance? Who was in charge of that? Now, of course, Honor didn't just plant a pollinator garden with their neighbors. By planting a pollinator garden, Honor served the common good. And today's service is going to lift up lots of ways we can all serve the common good in community. So in a moment, we will commission our Board of Trustees, which is a group of people whom the congregation votes to elect and who serve as the fiduciary agents of the church. These people were elected to serve on the board just last Sunday, but all members of the board whose terms do not conclude this month are invited to participate. So this is a whole board thing, y'all. As a reminder to both the congregation and all of you how your service contributes to the common good here at UUCSS. And later in the service, we will celebrate the 100th anniversary of the flower ceremony created by Norbert Čapek, a Unitarian martyr whose life and even death served the common good in his day and all these years later. And finally, towards the end of today's service, after our flower ceremony, we will recognize one of our own youth who has grown up in this congregation and is transitioning into adulthood. We will bless our beloved youth as we navigate how you will serve the common good in your own unique way. And after worship is over, of course, everyone is invited to stay for the Pollinator Festival for food, learning, and fun as we celebrate how our pollinator garden will serve our little corner of the interdependent web of all existence right here at UUCSS. So at this time, I invite all board members, please come up.
Everyone who will serve on the board moving forward, I invite you to come up and kind of stand up here so everyone can see you. So good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Kristen Schmidt. I'm the settled minister of this congregation, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. Each of us is equipped with different gifts, but like Honor in today's story, all of our gifts can be shared in the service of the common good. We each bring unique gifts and serve in different roles, but all gifts are important, and we can all make a difference in whatever role we happen to serve. The human family is interconnected, and so is this congregation. It's the relationships that bind these gifts together that make us more powerful as a community than any of us is alone. A little over 3 years ago, UUCSS voted to call me as its settled minister. And last Sunday, the congregation voted to elect you as board members. the most senior lay leaders of this congregation. Your service in this role for your term is important, both because of the decisions you will be empowered to make and because of the example you will set. So today, we acknowledge the honor, responsibility, and authority with which you are now entrusted in this community. And I'd like to invite the congregation to rise in body or spirit and join me in the words of commissioning on your screen. We have elected you to lead us as a congregation. Thank you for sharing your gifts of time, expertise, courage, and patience with us. As our leaders, we charge you to build trust, hold healthy boundaries, share your own truths, speak with one voice once you've reached a decision. Always put what's best for the whole congregation before your own preferences, and support one another. And now, board members, I invite you to say the words that will appear on the screen. May our service be inspired by love and shaped by the mission, vision, covenant, and bylaws of this congregation. And all of us together, may our leaders be blessed and may our ministry together be a blessing. Thank you. Everyone, please be seated. And as our board members make their ways back to their seats, I would like to introduce today's anthem. In Time of Silver Rain is a poem written by activist and jazz poet Langston Hughes in 1947. We celebrate the many ways that Hughes' work served the common good, and we also acknowledge that some of the words in this song don't reflect this congregation's expansive understanding of gender. As we lean into celebrating diversity, let us hold the complexity of honoring liberating art of the past and the language we use to speak a more free world into existence today. lucky are we, y'all? Oh my gosh. It's an embarrassment of riches in this congregation. It is now time for joys and sorrows, a time we practice vulnerability and compassion in this congregation. Not all joys and sorrows are things we may wish to share broadly, and the lay ministers and I are here to listen and support anyone who would like to talk one-on-one. But if you do have something you'd like to share, please get up from your seat and form a line down the chalice side aisle, this aisle. It's important that we move up and back on this side of the sanctuary so that on days when we have a live ASL interpreter on that side, we don't block them. It's really important for us to be able to capture them there on the camera. And today, even though Miyako is with us remotely, we can practice making sure that we do it on the correct side. So I invite you to do that. And when you speak, please share clearly, pretty close to the microphone, and please begin by saying your name so we all know who you are. And after each person shares, I invite everyone to join me in saying, in every joy and sorrow, we are held in love beyond belief. And once you've shared and lit a candle, please return to your seat by this aisle as well. Again, not to block the camera. And if you are unable to come forward to share a joy or a sorrow, please raise your hand and we'll make sure the mic gets to you so you can share from where you are.
Do a rotation of our chalices. We have so many, we might as well enjoy all of them. So I invite you now into a time of prayer. Spirit of life filling our lungs, beating in our hearts, we gather this morning with gratitude for the breadth and depth of life. As spring gives way to summer, we give thanks for rituals and traditions to help us mark life's milestones. We give thanks for singing babies. We give thanks for all of the learning and growing our children and youth have done in the last school year, and for all graduating high school seniors in our lives. And we honor the hard work it took for them to reach this milestone. And we call down blessings upon all the future will bring them. For some of us, these milestones are deeply significant, while others cross different kinds of thresholds that punctuate their lives. Life doesn't come with a one-size-fits-all guidebook, a fail-safe way to approach every situation, make every choice, navigate every relationship. Our learning doesn't stop when our schooling does, and growing up doesn't end if we earn a degree or reach a particular age. We celebrate today diplomas and degrees and careers, but we also celebrate the wisdom that comes from experiences beyond the formal classroom setting, the essential labor not always valued by capitalism. We give thanks for the ways everyone here serves the common good in their own way, and for the friends we make on the journey. May all who shared joys and celebrations this morning feel those blessings magnified in the hearts of all of us today. And may all who shared sorrows and those whose sorrows are too deep for words know that there is a love holding you that will never let you go. May boundless love guide us all to live in ways that bear witness to grace and love and mercy, and inspire us to live towards a shared vision of free selves, a freer community, and a freer world to which our faith is dedicated. Amen, and blessed be. And I invite you now into a moment of quiet together, grateful for the sounds of life all around us. If you've suffered a deep loss in the last year, I invite you to stand or raise your hand if you wish, so the congregation can bear witness to your grief. Let us enter now into a moment of quiet together.
The story of the first flower ceremony begins 100 years ago in Czechoslovakia, a country in Eastern Europe. It was 1923, and Europe had just experienced the worst war it had ever known. And afterward, people all over faced a lot of hard things. There wasn't a lot of food. People didn't have many warm clothes, and all sorts of other basic necessities were really hard to come by. On top of all of that, a lot of countries were redrawn right after the war, including Czechoslovakia. When the borders changed, people who had been fighting each other for generations suddenly became part of the same country. Awkward. And as you might imagine, a lot of people did not trust each other very much. One Unitarian pastor named Norbert Čapek created what he called the flower ceremony as a way to try to bring the people in his church together and nurture community between and among them. Since most people had so very little at that time, he chose to use flowers in his ceremony, which people could pick along their walk to church. The flowers were like each of them. Each was beautiful, each was from a different part of the countryside, and each was unique. When they got to church, the people would then put all of their flowers into one vase. The flowers represented each person there, and the vase represented the church because it gathered everyone together. Čapek taught his people that church is meant to bring us together and teach us to appreciate not only our own gifts, but the gifts of others. Single flowers are beautiful by themselves, but when put together with others in a thoughtful way, the bouquet can become more beautiful than the sum of its parts. And so when it came time for the people to return home, they would take a flower different from the one they had brought with them as a reminder of the power of diverse faith community. This beautiful ceremony became even more important about a decade later when Nazis took over Europe and tried to create a world where diversity was forbidden instead of celebrated. Čapek was very brave and refused to stop preaching and teaching that all people are beloved by God, even when Nazis were stationed at the doors of his church on Sunday mornings. When he was later imprisoned in the Dachau concentration camp, Čapek celebrated the flower ceremony with other prisoners, using sticks and stones and blades of grass, since there were no flowers in that awful place. Like so many people wrongly imprisoned by the Nazis, Čapek was put to death. He is one of our Unitarian martyrs, but we don't celebrate him because he died. We celebrate him and we continue to celebrate his flower ceremony because he was willing to do what was right and good and true, even though it was dangerous. He was willing to take very real risks to stay in solidarity with those most vulnerable in his community. 100 years later, and a continent away, our community faces its own challenges and threats. Some people in our society today also hate diversity and are seeking to make certain differences illegal. People we love in many states have lost freedoms and legal protections and access to health care. The time may come when we are all faced with hard decisions about what risks we are willing to take so we can pass on to our children a world that is more rather than less free. May this ceremony that we celebrate each and every year be for us a reaffirmation of our commitment to love and cherish one another's differences, to place the needs of the most vulnerable at the very center of our concern, and to do what we can with what we have, wherever we are, for the common good. Amen.
So whether you're tuning into the service here in the sanctuary or by Zoom, I invite you to join me in the prayer and blessing Reverend Chapek wrote for the first flower ceremony. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these, your messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to the work of love. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do your work in the world. Amen.
Our flower ceremony will begin in just a moment. At the invitation of the Sunday support volunteers, we will begin with the front rows forming one line down the chalice side aisle of the sanctuary. And I invite everyone to choose a flower different from the one that you placed in the vase. And we have so many up here. And then return to your seat. If you cannot come up to the table and need a flower brought to you, we're happy to do so. Please raise your hand and we'll bring one to you.
Take one that's different than the one you picked. I think Reverend Kristen is right. We need some funk in every flower ceremony. This is an official tradition y'all have witnessed. It's been stated. So at this time, I'm going to invite y'all into a bridging ritual. A bridging ritual is how we celebrate that move from youth to young adulthood. So we will all give a spoken blessing. We've got a small gift in the form of a portable UU worship kit. And then we will form we're going to use our rainbow of flowers. And in honor of Pride Month, this rainbow is going to be kind of a rainbow flower bridge that we're going to do that goes down this aisle and around the back, and then back this way. So for that, I'm gonna need a bunch of kids to come stand over here on this side of the bridge. So yes, they were ready, they're always ready. So children and youth, we're gonna need over here, and then young adults, I'm gonna need y'all over here. And young adults is anyone 18 to 35, and also those young at hearts. So I need some folks over here. And we particularly welcome the Strauss-Riggs family, we are holding in tender love this week as we welcome Isabel into adulthood. So I invite y'all to come forward now and be centered to feel our love and support and care. As was mentioned in Joys and Sorrows, it's always a lot of feelings around this. And so, Isabel, we offer you this blessing. We're going to start with all of us. All of us. And we have a slide for this, I believe. There we go. All right, all together now. Today, we honor the youth among us, you who are stepping beyond and away and toward. Today, we share in your journey and encourage your discovery. And now, young adults.
Today we welcome your energy and offer you a safe place to grow. Today we celebrate your hopes and dreams. Come live, breathe, thrive, and rejoice. Your time is now.
Now, children, are y'all ready? All right.
Today we applaud you for all you have been, for all you are now, and for all you will be. Cha cha cha.
And now, Isabel, we put you on the spot.
Do you?
There you go. That's why we have a book.
Today marks an ending so that I may begin again, to hope and do and learn and be.
And I'm hoping we have some more words. It was a long blessing, lots of slides. Maybe some of them got lost. There we go. Everyone, today you cross this bridge. Go now and explore with wonder. We will support and nurture you. You are the future and the present, can I just say. All right, and young adults, you're on the spot again.
Today you cross this bridge. Go now and make choices that will make you happy. We will support and nurture you. You are amazing.
Facts. And children, you're on the spot again. Here we go.
Today you cross the bridge. We will be patient and hopeful. We will support and nurture you. You are an inspiration. Cha cha cha.
Today I cross this bridge and join in fellowship. Let me grow, but don't let me go.
Together, we share a special place. Together we turn. Together we love. Together we grow. And we offer you this small gift, which I have hidden in the pulpit. It's not fried chicken. This is a small token of our love, a small sturdy wooden chalice with a tie-dyed heart altar cloth to remind us you were in our hearts, and a copy of the book Becoming, edited by my friend, the Reverend Kayla Parker which is written for and by young adults. And there's a battery-operated tea light in there, so your light can shine regardless of fire restrictions. So now I'm going to invite everyone to rise in body, voice, or spirit, and we're going to make an arch of flowers. So kids, you're the first to send Isabel, so make an arch of flowers, and we're going to do it. This is kind of what we did in my YRUU days, called like an angel wash, but with flowers. So you're blessing Isabel, and we're going to sing a blessing as well. So Michael, can you teach us the singing? So hold on to your flowers for a second. We're about to do this. Michael's going to teach us real quick.
So I'll teach you with the choir. The choir will sing it the first time in unison, and they go into harmony, but it's a really easy song. So we start with a little intro first. Okay. So you can hear it the first time, and we'll sing it 3 more times. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. So just the first part here. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song.
We love you so much, and we continue to hold you and your family in our hearts. And now we all sit down.
I now invite you into our congregation's weekly practice of generosity. As part of that practice, we as a congregation will be sharing half of today's offering and the offerings through the end of June with the Transgender Law Center. Transgender Law Center is the largest national trans-led organization advocating self-determination for all people. The center works to change law, policy, and attitudes so that all people can live safely, authentically, and free from discrimination, regardless of their gender identity or expression. Any offering marked as a pledge will be applied toward your pledge. All other monies will be split in half between UUCSS and the Transgender Law Center. In a minute, you'll see on the screen that there are lots of ways to give to UUCSS. There we go. If you are here in person, you can also place your offering in one of the offering plates as it's passed around. The offering will now be given and received cha-cha-cha.
And now I invite Donna B. Smith to give our announcements in one of her final Sundays as board president.
Good morning. I'm Donna B. Smith. I'm a member of the board for a couple more weeks. And my pronouns are she, her, and her. Our church is not only the organization that puts together these wonderful services, we are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff and children, and member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and a part of the global UU denomination. Today we have 3 announcements. First, an invitation to the next 2 Sunday services. Next Sunday, June 18th, Reverend Kristen will preach about wonder and reverence and how they unite us in our theological diversity. The following week, June 25th, while our ministers and some of our members are away at General Assembly, which is our Unitarian Universalist get together once a year for the whole denomination, this year in Pittsburgh. When that's happening, UU musician Jim Scott will lead our service. That'll be fun. Second, some information about religious education this summer. Next week, our UU CSS Pollinator Summer RE class begins. Kids will begin Sunday morning in worship with their grown-ups just like they have all year. And the class will begin after children are sung out about halfway through the service. UU CSS Pollinators is a drop-in class that does not require registration and is designed for elementary-aged kids. Youth in middle school and older can choose whether they'd like to help lead the class or stay for the rest of the service. Kids coming to UU CSS Pollinators should come wearing sunscreen, bug spray, and bring a water bottle. Our third announcement is from Linda Barrett.
Good morning. So a little story. So several years ago, I noticed my tomato plants weren't doing very much. They weren't producing very much fruit. There just weren't enough bees to pollinate my tomato plants. I had used a little paintbrush and went in and got some of the pollen and went to the next flower and 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 so on, but it just wasn't good enough. In the meantime, a friend said that I should plant some native flowers. Oh, okay. To bring more pollinators to my garden and pollinate my tomatoes. Well, the native flowers did bring many, 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 many more pollinators to the garden, and it resulted in a bumper crop of tomatoes. So I realized that mankind is very dependent upon pollinators for our food, our life, and that the pollinators are very dependent upon us to plant a wide variety of native plants as a food source. So today, as part of our UUCSS Chesapeake Bay Trust grant, we've created a pollinator festival, something fun, to help teach about the importance of pollinators, native plants, and sustainable landscaping. Our festival will begin immediately after the service, and it will be a blast. You will have the opportunity to learn about why native plants matter, how to identify invasives and how to get rid of them, who the pollinators are and why they're important, help install some of the plants into our first pollinator garden, and if you'd like, sign our National Wildlife Federation Pollinator Pledge and take home some free native plants. And for the young at heart and the young of age, we have some just plain fun. We have some pollinator crafts, we have a photo booth, we have drinks and snacks, and some cool pollinator bling. When you entered the sanctuary today, you should have gotten a half sheet of paper that was our pollinator pretest. You know, it's all about the data. And a pencil. So if you didn't get one, you can get one from Mary Beth on your way out, but please fill it out, it's pretty quick, and leave it in the sanctuary with Mary Beth today. Yeah, that's it. So come out and have some fun with us.
Please join me in the words for our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
And now let's rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn. It's number 318, We Would Be One. All the words will be on the screen. May the love that makes life beautiful,
The reverence that makes life holy,
and the truth that makes us free
lead us onward together.
into a deepening and growing communion of life.
Our worship has ended, and our service begins.
Cha-cha-cha.
don't you do this? Keep your folders, but take all the music out and just place it on the chairs. Okay? Take all your music out and place it in a pile on the chairs and we'll sort it out. Catherine will take a week break. So watch your emails in the summer and I'll send you all the info for everything. What pleasure. Cha-cha-cha.